Warning: the following content is satire and is for comedic purposes only. Any comments, past or present, do not represent our values. Some viewers may find the following offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to True North Network. Name pending because apparently Between the Posts is taken by literally everyone with a podcast ever. Whoops.
Help us name the podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to be Podcast McPodcast Face.
Yeah, name this segment. Since we last convened, the All-Stars happened. That was cool. There were some really cool stats that came out of that, and there was also some of what I think you said, which was they're not really going to try because they don't give a shit.
Like Kucherov? Is that what you mean, like Kucherov?
Yeah. Specifically,
I seem to think he didn't really care very much.
Yeah, just a feeling. Also, since then, we talked about the Sean Monahan thing. We predicted it. Well, you predicted it, but Sean Monahan is on the Jets, and I'd say he's worked out so far.
Yeah, I mean, the return looks all right so far.
Yeah, if he can keep it up.
He's been doing some good things in that. I don't think he has as much chemistry with his line mates as he could right now, so that's something probably in the back 25 games here or whatever the Jets have left that they're probably going to want to focus on to dial that in for the playoffs. And I think that's probably part of the reason why they went and got him before the deadline, which was, I think, a smart move.
Yeah. I think getting him this late in the season, it's going to be mainly a chemistry thing and, learning to play with the Jets' style of hockey. Sean Monahan in Winnipeg still sounds weird. I never would have expected him to come to Winnipeg, but he seems to want to be there, so
I mean, like a year ago, that guy was lucky to get another real NHL shot.
Yeah.
Because he had dropped off and had injury problems. He's had a good year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a 2C. I just don't. But I think he'd make a very good middle six guy.
Yeah.
On the Jets that are wing heavy, like maybe he can work out spot duty 2C with a strong 3C behind him. But it might be a relationship that continues. Yeah. That'd be good for the Jets. They've had a hard time getting a 2C in the city to stay.
I also think the experience is another good thing to have because he is, he's got a few seasons under his belt. So, some of the younger talent will have more people to look towards, which I think is also important.
Yeah, I mean, right, NHL coaches love veteran presence, and you always hear about Smitty there, who plays for Winnipeg. He's not really even a great third pairing defenseman, but everybody on the team loves him. He's a glue guy. So it's good when you can get somebody that can play and fill a role for your team that you can look to experience. I don't know what he's like in the locker room. I haven't really heard anything, but they can definitely look to him. He's a guy who's had a 30-goal season, maybe even multiple, and he's done it in the NHL, and he's had a lot of ups and downs, and he's faced some adversity in the last couple of years. So I think that's good for the Jets. Was it worth the price? I guess we'll see. If he re-signs for a decent price, probably. But that's always the problem with the trade deadline, especially when you wait until the deadline here coming up in a couple of weeks. You run the risk of pulling a guy in that just doesn't fit. And sometimes you pay an exorbitant price. The plus side is, I think Monahan has looked okay. I don't think he's gelled right with his wingers yet, but he's putting up points while he's figuring it out. It's really all you can ask for when you trade for a guy late in the season, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think his hat trick in that one game is definitely something, it's a positive. Just hoping he can stay on pace and, helping out the goal scoring, because that's one of the things that the Jets still they're having struggles with the offense. You've got the top line and then the second line performing well. So some of that depth scoring needs to be picked up from the bottom 6.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously where they got him. He's not, like I say, he's not the player he used to be,
Mm-hmm.
but like the dude at one time could put pucks in the back of the net. Yeah, he's got three 30-goal seasons,
Yeah.
another 4 20-goal seasons. So like he knows how to score in the NHL, and I think it'll be good for the Jets to have somebody like that, a
Mm-hmm.
complimentary piece. But like that guy's not a long-term 2C fit, and as long as they're not expecting him to be that, for the Jets, I think they're okay. I think
Mm-hmm.
asking him to produce at the clip he's been on since he came to the Jets is too much.
Yeah.
I mean, the hat trick bolsters those numbers. We got 5 points, all
Yeah.
goals in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's that player anymore. Once upon a time in his career, he was. I don't think he can. But if you get like half a point per game pace out of him, I think you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where the rest of the season goes, and if he makes a difference in playoffs, especially.
Yeah, I mean, he's already made a difference.
Yeah.
So it's positive for Wiggins.
I wanted to update, because we talked about this as well, league point leaders. Currently, I looked at this today. Kucherov, 94. McKinnon, 92.
93 tonight.
93. There, okay, so yeah, even closer now. Those two, and like, it's not, like, it's close. Third, McDavid, 85. I don't know if that's changed since tonight. But like,
yeah, McDavid has closed the gap in the last couple weeks, though.
Yeah. So I'm curious, especially the top 3, and even Pasternak, he's got 82, and Miller, 75. But those top 2 positions are definitely something to keep an eye on, because that's wild that they're both racing for 100 there.
Yeah, I think Kucherov has like a game or 2 in hand. So technically, if you look at points per game, he's outproducing McKinnon.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I don't think McKinnon's going to win the scoring title this year. I just don't. I think there's too many games left, and McDavid is just catching fire, and that dude just knows how to put up insane points. And Kucherov has seemed to be able to keep up. Like Kucherov is he's one of the best players in the cap era.
Yeah.
I think he's like one of the only players to get like shortest amount of games. He's like top 5 to 700 points or something like that, I read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's an incredible player, and he's clipping on a great pace.
Mm-hmm.
But McKinnon might have a chance to catch him, but he's still putting up numbers. But Colorado on the whole has cooled off the last couple weeks. They have had some ugly losses, and they have not played great. And he's still managing to get his points, but he's not taking over games as much as he was even since the last time we talked. So it'll be interesting to watch. But I thought maybe it was going to be one of those 2 guys, and then the old adage, things in the rearview mirror may be closer than they appear, and there's McDavid. Right?
David is barreling behind.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I would love to see somebody other than McDavid win it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see McKinnon selfishly win it, but Kucherov, I think he has an Art Ross. Maybe he has a Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
He could do it, definitely. My big gripe with the whole scoring thing is like everybody seems to group MVP with that too. Like, that's why there's 2 separate titles.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
And I think personally, again, biased opinion, I think McDavid wins that, or not McDavid. McKinnon should win it this year if he continues to play.
Yeah.
Matthews has made a case for himself. 50 goals in 54 games is insane.
Yeah, I was gonna. That was one of the things that I had on my list as well. That dude's having a season.
Oh yeah, he might end up with like a top 15 all-time best goal scoring season.
Yeah.
In the cap era. I mean, goal scoring has gone up pretty consistently over the last couple of years, which is great. But like, you just don't see those type of numbers typically in this era of the NHL. Like, it was a big deal when Ovechkin scored 65 or whatever he scored. Like, and when Stamkos early in his career scored 60 plus, like those were big deals. And like, That dude's gonna blow past those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think he's got what more hat tricks than like all the teams combined or something.
Yeah, he's got like I think there's a bunch of teams that he scored more
Yeah,
hat tricks
yeah,
than their entire
yeah.
lineup has combined,
Yeah,
because I think he's got
I'll
7.
find the actual stat and put it on screen,
Yeah.
but like he's having a crazy season and it's cool to see. I just wish it paid off more cuz the rest of like Toronto's one of the most mid teams cuz they just find ways to throw their games.
I don't think they're a mid team. I think they don't have
No, they
they
should be a
just can't
better.
seem to overcome adversity
Yeah.
in the moments they need to. That's something I watched Colorado do that for years and years, and then
Yeah.
when they just started to figure it out, maybe they will. I mean, I hope
Yeah.
for Toronto's sake they do. They've got a lot of money tied up in that core 4.
Yeah.
That defense I still don't think is as good as it needs to be to win a championship, and they've allocated all their money to 4 dudes,
Yeah.
5 dudes if you include Morgan Riley.
Mhm.
But we'll see. They definitely have the capability of outscoring defensive problems.
Oh yeah. They've proven that. They've come back from games all the time. And yeah, they're a high caliber team that should be finding ways to win more games, but hopefully they figure it out as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So all you need is a ticket to ride. And
Yeah.
the playoffs are a different animal. They're a different type of game. I think back to what year was it? The LA won their second cup, like 2016.
Yeah, that sounds
I'd have
right.
to look back, but they were 8th seed. I mean, they were better than 8th seed should suggest, but point is they snuck in an 8th seed.
Yeah, it happens.
And they won the cup, and they're not the only team to ever do that. So
yeah,
once you're in, you're in. So it's just like, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Will the scoring pace continue for them? Will they be able to get competent goaltending? For Toronto's sake, if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, I hope so. Personally, I don't care. Because I don't want to hear. I personally, the media out east just shoves so much Toronto Maple Leaf stuff in you that I don't want them to win.
Yeah.
Purely because I just don't want to hear about it for the rest of my life.
Yep. Cool if they win, but I don't want to hear about it. Also, it's kind of fun making fun of them online, but
You don't have to. You just fucking look at their playoff records. Yeah. Makes fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2014. Sorry, that LA won their second cup where they were 8th seed. So
there you go.
Yeah.
What else do I have here? I guess I can talk about the trade pieces that I'm still hoping for, because there is an assumption amongst the community that Calgary is going to be selling some assets because it's not working in Calgary right now. So I've heard possibly Tanev, possibly Hannafin will be up for the trade deadline. And I wouldn't mind if Winnipeg went after one of those guys. I know we were talking about Chychrun as well. I don't know if he's moving, though, because I think he's also come out saying that he's pretty comfortable in Ottawa.
Well, I mean, what's he going to say?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to put your contract at risk because you're like, oh, yeah, I want the hell out of here.
It doesn't. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes players, like, it happens pretty public. Like the Matthew Shane stuff with Colorado a few years ago. Like, he wanted out. He wasn't hiding it from anybody. But typically those guys play pretty close to their vest, and they have only limited control over the situation.
Yeah.
And if you don't get traded, you don't want to be the guy who's like, I want out of here, right?
Yeah.
It's not a good look, and it doesn't really bode well for the management to try and trade you, because the return is diminished when it's like, we have to move him rather than we're looking to move him. So we'll see with Chychrun. I don't know. Ottawa gave up a lot to get that guy. That might be like when his contract is expiring type of move,
Yeah.
or an off-season move where they're moving bigger pieces of salary around.
Yeah.
I think going back to Calgary, like Tanev is a no-brainer. That dude's gonna
Mm-hmm.
get moved at the deadline.
Yeah.
There's no way. He's what, 31, 34. He's 34. He's a UFA. He's still a good defenseman. He's a
Yeah.
right-hand shot, or plays the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Every team needs those, right?
Yeah.
So I think that a team going for a run is going to pay a pretty good price for that dude. We'll see Hannafin. He's also UFA, but he's 27 and he's a damn good hockey player. He plays the left side.
Yeah.
He's already moved on once because he was a Carolina piece a few years ago. Eh, I've seen and read that he has not been interested in signing an extension. And ultimately, I think if you look at the standings, Calgary would be stupid, like not to move that guy if they
Yeah.
don't have an extension in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a gamble you take to the off season and be like, hopefully he resigns unless you're making the playoffs, and they're not making the playoffs.
No.
If they do, they're gonna be like one of the first teams out. They just don't have a good team. They're what I've always said about Calgary is the Calgary zone, right? They're just never bad enough to get good, and they're never good enough to do anything, and
Yep.
they're absolutely the most mid team in the entire league, consistently year after year,
Yeah.
because they just refuse to do the rebuild. I mean, look what they did last year, right? With Gaudreau and Kachuk, right? Those guys wanted out.
Mm-hmm.
So, or the year before, I guess. What did they do? They went out and gave Nazem Kadri, who I personally love because Colorado. Thank you for the cup, Nazem. They signed that dude to what, a 7-year deal, 7 million to replace Gaudreau's contract, and then they went and traded Kachuk for Uyghur and Huberdeau. One of those has worked out. Like, those aren't rebuilding moves; those are retooling moves,
Yeah.
and they've consistently done this. They did it with who was it, Toffoli in the offseason?
Mm-hmm.
That guy wanted out, and I cannot pronounce the guy they got from the Shagranovich. I don't
Yes.
know how to say his name. The dude out of New Jersey, they went and got him. They did a swap. I mean, he's worked out good for Calgary, but like,
Mm-hmm.
my point being is like they're not rebuilding. They're not trading for rebuilding assets. They have never really done that. They haven't, and they really, really need to. The biggest thing they've done that shows maybe they might be committing is the Lindholm trade.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If you're a Calgary Flames fan, I think just it's gonna be years of pain. Just hopefully your management just fucking burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground and rebuild it. Get a Bedard, get a McKinnon,
Yeah.
you know, get a Jonathan Tays, like get a John Tavares. Like, there are players out there that if you're shitty enough, you have a chance to get on your team, and you can make that player or players your centerpiece to rebuild and make us a championship team.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I look at Calgary and there's champions on that team, but not champions on that team.
It's time for a rebuild.
Yeah. Burn down, Calgary Flame style.
I haven't looked at Colorado's last 10. If you want to go into that.
I don't know what's going on, but since they came back from the All-Star break, they've been hot garbage for the vast majority of their games. They had a couple of good games that they looked good and they clipped along, and a couple of games where they maybe fair, like deserved a little bit better than what they fared. But like, my God, they've been shit since they've come back.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams couldn't break out of the All-Star funk because the Jets as well, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10.
Yeah, Colorado's 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And they lost 4 of 6 in that group, like, or 5 of 7, something like that. Like, a lot back to back. I mean, thank God the Central's so shitty, they're still in second place. If you go by point percentage, they're in third.
Yeah.
They're in no danger of missing the playoffs or anything like that. But like, this is not the type of year or type of time of year that you want to be playing this kind of hockey. Like
No.
super inconsistent, low scoring, or just like getting beat up in the third period, getting
Mm-hmm.
beat up early in the game. And McKinnon's doing it. McKinnon's doing it all. There's been a couple of games, like the last game, Johansson basically got 2 goals. They were fluky, but like then they won.
Yeah.
But they won because Johansson scored some fluky goals, and Georgiev finally stood on his head and played up to his skill, which is good. So maybe that's a sign. They played Annunen. They're now back up tonight. He looked great. He got them to overtime. They lost in overtime. So maybe the success will start coming from the back. But
Yeah.
I think they need to make a trade.
Mm-hmm.
They went and signed Parise. He looks great. I love that. I love that signing. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But like they're missing the Chuskin.
Yeah, I
And
saw
the Ryan Johansson experiment has not worked. That guy fucking sucks.
that.
I know it's kind of stupid of me saying that, like after the guy just scored 2 goals like 3 nights ago, but like
Fuck 'em.
fluky goals, like
Mm.
he doesn't fit with the style of the team. He's lazy, he's slow.
Mm.
So I think they'll make a move. Look how much they've invested in this team.
Yeah.
Do you think they give a shit about a first round pick next year, or some of their prospects? Some of them maybe, but
Yeah.
like not all of them. They're gonna make a move and they'll get somebody or something. The problem is it's not really a lot of good center options
No.
now that Lindholm is off the board. And I think Colorado has that culture where like we're not gonna give up the farm for a player that's gonna give us one run.
Yeah.
They haven't done that in the past. Even when they made their trade, the year they won their cup, they gave up a second and a prospect for Manson. He could have walked, and they gave up a second and Justin Barron for Arturi Lehkonen.
Mm.
That's not nothing. Those are
Mm-hmm.
good pieces that they gave up, but they're not selling the farm like the trade you saw for Lindholm.
Yeah.
The only time they've really done that is when they traded for Nazem Kadri, and that guy had 3 more years on his contract. And they specifically came out and they said, we targeted him because we can make more than one run.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go. So it'll be interesting to see if they target anyone. I have a sneaking suspicion that they're just going to fluff around the edges. I don't like that for them, but we'll see.
Yeah.
They'll do something. If they don't do anything at trade deadline, they'll do something in the offseason about it. And probably Bill Byron will be the centerpiece of that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they can move around if they don't end up trading any pieces.
I think they'll do something.
Mm.
I just don't think there's anyone that they're gonna sell the farm for,
Yeah.
unless they have term or they can come to some sort of agreement. And I don't think they know what kind of agreement they can come to because they just re-signed Devon Toews. Good deal. But their hope is Landeskog is going to come back and be a player for the future, and they don't have much cap space after that. So
Yeah.
they have to be smart of it. I want them to go after Morgan Frost in Philly. Cheaper player, younger guy, hasn't really got an opportunity. His underlying numbers looks good. I think his play style would fit good in Colorado. Colorado's got the wingers to bolster and bring up a kid like that, and they got Russ Colton, who can kind of play spot duty as 2C, as he's shown this year. A low end 2C, but somebody like that I think makes a lot of sense. But that doesn't feel like a move that Philly's going to make in season. So we'll see.
Jets last 10. I was just looking at here. They had a really bad streak after they got back from the All-Stars. There was a 4-1 loss to the Bruins. Lost both games to the Leafs, won in overtime. Penguins, Flyers, lost both of those, and then they figured out how to get their shit together. During this losing streak, it was really hard to watch because they had been so consistent. And one crux of the Jets that I bring up every year is they fail to hold the consistency past the Christmas break, and maybe they held it a little bit longer, and it was after the All-Star break. But I feel like at a certain point in the season that they just, I don't know what it is, if they lose sight of what the plan is, or if what the dynamic is there that causes that shift. It looks like they've gotten their shit together, and I'm not going to criticize until I see, the next few games. But I'm hoping that whatever they did, like whether it was in the locker room or on the ice, whatever they did, hopefully it helps them to keep winning. But I'm not stranger to the inconsistencies of the Winnipeg Jets.
I mean, yeah, I think they've been a good team this year. I think they've been inconsistent, sure. And they've definitely gone through some ups and downs, but the important thing to remember, especially for the Jets fans, is like the best hockey teams in NHL history with like the best seasons lose like 30-40% of their games.
Yeah.
So it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're gonna have teams that go through these stretches.
Yeah.
They're going to get their asses kicked. They're not going to put in the work. They're not going to get the bounces. But it's the stick-to-itiveness of the team and the coaching adjustments and the hard work. You need to put in the work to break out of those bad habits and break out of those unlucky times. And usually good teams can turn that around. And I think the Winnipeg Jets will. They're a pretty talented group. Are they for real? Like I don't think they're a cup contender this year. I just don't. But who knows? You get in the playoffs and you have Hellebuck. Magic might happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Binnington has a cup, so who knows? But I mean, look at it that way. Wildly inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean,
there are 32 fan bases in the NHL that will tell you the same thing about their team.
Yeah. I mean, look at the Oilers, right? They were fucking on such a bad losing streak, and then it seemed like it exploded out of nowhere. But honestly, it wasn't nothing major. I mean, they had a coach change, but nothing major really happened, and they went on a run.
Confidence is a hell of a drug. Once you get that mojo going and you get that momentum, you kind of become like a rolling steam engine, and it's that tends to carry over. You don't. That's why you see, I think, a lot of streaks in the NHL.
Yeah.
Are they super long? Probably not, but like you'll see 3, 4, 5 game winning streaks. You'll see the same on the losing streaks. The confidence swings are a big thing. They carry over from game to game. I know like a lot of the NHL players, and some of them do have that mindset. It's like, oh, we gotta have a short memory and don't get complacent and just focus on today. And like I don't compete in high level sports, but in anything that you do, like everybody has imposter syndrome, and everybody has good days and bad days, and it's no different to be a top athlete, and you have a lot of pressure on you. So when you're performing, and when you're not, you're not. So it's hard to say that Winnipeg has been underperforming, but they certainly could have been performing better than they have.
Yeah, I mean, every year teams are going to go through adversity. So I don't amount too much into a losing streak because, like you said, good teams have gone on losing streaks before. But when it comes down to it, in the playoffs, they perform.
Hey, sorry, I'm back. My computer died.
Okay.
You
good?
Wait, no, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying that I don't amount too much to streaks. It happens. The best of teams go on losing streaks. Don't do things that they probably should do. It's
two teams on the ice, right?
Yeah,
that's also a part of it.
And sports are like high emotion, high adrenaline activities. So obviously, it happens.
Hockey is also a stupid sport.
Yes,
weird shit happens in it all the time.
It makes no sense.
It's very hard to predict. It's one of the big sports thing with the most parity. Right? There's no Golden State Warriors in the NHL where it's like, oh, these guys are going to win every year.
Yep.
Who's going to win the cup this year? There's like 5 or 6 contenders, real contenders, but like that's 5 or 6. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And there's 16 teams that are going to get a crack at it. So every team's like that. There's 2 teams on the ice. You just can't win every sort of game. What you want to see is like the consistent effort, and you want to see them have that short memory and carry things over into games that are good and drop things that are bad.
Yeah. To kind of wrap up here, I thought I'd mention this because I got a text today from my coworker's husband. He was asking if I had Sportsnet Plus because he wanted to watch the Jays games. And I messaged him back. I'm like, no, actually, I leech off my brother's because he pays to watch Colorado, and he is so kind to give me his login info for when the Jets are on.
You keep it up, and I swear to God, I can feel your lips kissing my ass over the internet.
Hey, it's out there online now, so it's evident as kissing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Sportsnet Plus sucks. If you're in Canada and you're not in the market like of the team that you want to watch and you want to watch hockey, your options are to buy like NHL Center Ice through like a cable subscription package, which was really expensive, and the streaming options are shit. It's just Sportsnet. It used to be Rogers. When it was NHL Game Center 10 years ago, I want to say, like it sucked.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't terrible. It worked. And then Rogers became the distributor, and it just sucked. It was absolute fucking garbage to deal with them. And I was actually happy when I heard it was going, oh, it's going to Sportnet Plus. Thank God, away from Rogers. It is somehow fucking worse.
Yeah.
I find myself on the regular sitting down to watch a game and it like cuts out, or I get booted back to the menu, or the fucking audio is way off of the game video, and I'm like, what the fuck am I paying for? And it's not cheap. It's like $220 a year.
Yeah.
If you're watching like games every day and you're one of those fans that just loves to watch hockey, you follow multiple teams, yeah, it's probably worth it. It's not a big deal. But if you're a fair weather fan, like it's not an option. And if you're somebody like me that follows one team, you know, I try to watch as many games as I can of Colorado, but like I'm busy. So I'll maybe squeeze in 40, 50 games this season.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit, but like when you think like I'm paying like $2-3 a game for this.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't sound too bad, but when you get the service you get, it sucks. It's so awful.
Yeah.
The application is the most antiquated piece of shit to navigate around I've ever seen. Fuck you, Sportsnet. You suck. Be better.
Multi-billion-dollar companies that need more of the consumer's money, and they don't even deliver on services. I mean, it's gotten bad everywhere. Amazon has recently switched to ads on their services as well. I just
You get ads on Sportsnet too. They block it out. It's like, what does it matter whether I see fucking 30 seconds of a blank screen or an ad?
Commercials.
And when the ads do come through, they're the same 5 ads with hockey. I don't know. It comes back to our conversation last time. The league is run by a bunch of fucking boomer dinosaurs. Like, I don't know. You look at the women's hockey league, and when they were, I forget what the league they were before they just combined here a couple years ago. Damn, I can't remember now. But like, I would watch the Toronto Six, and you could watch them on Discord. And you know what? It worked every fucking time. You'd go to their Twitter page and you'd be like, click, and you'd pop up in the app, and I could share it with my TV, and it just worked seamlessly. And I was like, I'm watching the game. It was it. It was easy. I understand the NHL needs to make more money. Because and they have an opportunity to make more money. They pay their players a lot more. So they got bills to pay. But like, okay, wait a second. You're telling me that you guys can't figure out in this day and age a streaming service that you guys can run on your own and sell ads on your own.
Yeah.
People will still pay. And
I don't mind paying for it if it fucking works.
Product is good. I'll pay $250 a year continuously and see ads for after in the middle of my games. That's fine. if the service works
Yeah.
and it's fucking user friendly and there's no blackouts and there's none of this fucking bullshit where it's like, oh, it's in your local area. Fuck you. I paid $250. Why does it matter if I live here or not? So what do? You go through VPNs. Like,
Yeah.
it's awful. I swear to God, they'd make more money.
Yeah. Like for an industry that is so focused on making money, because all these, teams and everyone that works for the NHL, they all are there to make money. And
that's the point of a business.
Yeah. And they are losing out on so much money because of the way they are running things and their inability to change.
The popularity of the NHL has not gone up significantly.
No.
And
There's more criticism than ever.
Every opportunity to do it. Anytime somebody does something cool, or like, hey, we're getting rid of Pride Nights.
Yeah.
Why?
They made it a bigger story than it needed to be.
Hey, tell your young kids not to do the gritty when they score goals. What? Disagree with that. Fine, if you want.
Yeah.
There's no place in the game for that. The fucking code, blah, 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 blah. Slap shots in an empty net. Fine. Disagree with that all you want. But reality is you want to get somebody that's younger and trying to understand and sync up with what you're trying to sell as a product. You do the things that young kids like.
Yeah.
Right? So they want to see stupid dances and shit. Have you seen Fortnite? Let the players have personalities.
Yeah.
You ever seen a fucking interview with Connor McDavid? That guy is awful to watch because he's a pre-programmed media robot.
Yeah.
And they all sound like that. Every fucking interview with every
same
single
answers.
player sounds like that.
Yep.
And then the things that blow up all over the internet are when players say something they shouldn't have, or say something offside and off color. But you know what? That's interesting because it's different.
Yeah. Sell your product.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sell yourself. Make yourself marketable, right? John Tortorella, I think, is annoying. I fucking hate him as a coach.
Yeah.
I think he's shitty, but he's good for the game because he says funny shit and he will tell people to fuck off in interviews. But the league will fine them for that, right? Patty Waugh, when he came back and coached the Avalanche, his first game back, he and Bruce Boudreau fucking pushing over the stanchion divider, and they both get fined. Why? That's entertaining.
Yeah.
You know what was all over the news that night and the next day? That. Yeah, anyways, they don't know how to sell their product.
No.
Because they're
old.
They're not with the times, man. We must kill the Batman.
Yeah. I saw one podcast that had him on, and I can't remember what it was. I'll have to see if I can find it. But they were just fucking blowing smoke up his ass the entire time, talking about how great he is. And to his merit, he has turned the league into something that, I mean, we all watch it, right? And it's massively popular. But to go on there and just put him on this high pedestal when there's so much fucking backlash with every single decision he makes.
I don't think Gary Bettman gets enough credit for the good things he's done.
Oh no, it's the bad.
He certainly gets the hate he deserves for the shitty things he's done.
Yeah.
How many lockouts have we had?
Yeah.
And again, the inability to grow the game, and that falls on his head.
Mm-hmm.
That's the culture he's bred.
Yeah.
The DOPS is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't control everything, but that culture starts from him down.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to step aside.
Yes.
The problem is in today's society, it's going to be another old white dude.
Yeah. That Gary probably
and nothing's
appoints.
going to change. Probably.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool people out there that could do a much better job than is being done.
Someone plan a coup.
Yeah.
Well, did you want to wrap there for today? I know you have to go at 9.
Yeah. I think we should get together again before the trade deadline, which I think is March 9th.
Yes, we will have to do that.
Although I think a lot of pieces are going to be moved before then.
Yeah.
Because the trade deadline doesn't seem to matter so much anymore.
No. So many moves before it. Well, thank you for joining me, Cody. I guess I didn't introduce us at the beginning again, but whatever. What else is new?
Be bad at this.
Well, That's the content.
That's the wheelhouse.
Yep. That's living with ADHDs. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Go follow us on social media. All the links are down below. Go follow Aim for Theo. They are also tagged in the description of the video and in the description on all audio platforms. And yeah, we will see you guys hopefully next week. I don't know when all these videos are going up yet, so keep tuned. Go follow the socials, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Finger guns.